Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a like and a comment.
And you can share with a friend if you enjoy it, and subscribe so you're notified of new videos.
Thanks and enjoy the show.
A beautiful day like today would make anyone want to get outside. This week we'll show you how to create the perfect outdoor entertainment area.
Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford, the voice of home improvement, with projects, tips, and ideas to help you improve your home.
Many people love this type of neighborhood. It's a zero lot line development where you have little or no room between you and the house next door. The advantage there is you have very little lawn to maintain, very little grass, very few shrubs, but most of these type of developments have some type of common space that allows the kids and children to get out and play a little bit. But everybody still wants that private little entertainment area in the back of their house, and that's what we're creating on this house. Not just a simple one though. We're putting together this great looking kitchen outdoors with fireplace, covered area, and very important ventilation so that that cooking can take place under the covered roof. And a little bit later we'll be checking in on a very special deck project that's just outside St. Petersburg, Florida, where a contractor's using a composite material to build the deck, which will allow the homeowners a lot more leisure time and less time taking care of the deck. Stay with us. One of the challenges in doing anything in the backyard of a house that's positioned on a zero lot line clearance is that that's all the space you have. Not big enough for a truck to drive down and bring all the materials in the backyard, so everything will have to be hand carried or pushed in a wheelbarrow. But you know, to create the perfect outdoor living space, this is a good start. The homeowners installed their pool several years ago. It's a fairly small pool, but so is the area we have to work with. Also, in the original construction of the house, this little shaded back porch was included, which is a nice little area, but not quite big enough for what they really wanted to accomplish in their backyard, and that's to be able to have another covered area that would take care of a nice cooking center, an outdoor kitchen, and even throw in a fireplace. It really didn't take us that long to get to this point.
Along with the pool and the covered patio, the Hall family also had a small storage building already in the backyard, so we decided to build the outdoor kitchen as an extension of it. This way it would back right up to the neighbor's wall and wouldn't use too much of the pool deck. That meant we had to pour a concrete slab to serve as a foundation for the structure. Now, as we often do, we used a pump truck to get the concrete into the backyard from the street. But here, with the limited access to the workspace, it was more of a necessity than a luxury. The slab will be slightly higher than the pool deck for a couple of reasons. One, we didn't want the runoff from the pool creating any puddles under the cook's feet. And two, we wanted the new area to be on the same level with the existing patio. In order for the new roof of the outdoor kitchen to tie into the storage building, we had to do some demolition to the old roof. In fact, we completely removed it, and because of the zero lot line situation, we were working right up against the neighbor's storage building too, so we had to really be careful not to mess it up in the process. And once the lumber arrived, the guys started the framing, and they began with this wall, which is attached to the cinder block wall that separates this lot from the neighbor's yard. Since the outdoor kitchen will be open on two sides, the guys put up a beam to support the front side of the roof structure. Now, those temporary posts will be replaced later with fiberglass columns. Once the beam was locked in, the ceiling joist could start going in, and then the rafters, so the whole thing could be decked and shingled. The Halls wanted to be sure that this addition didn't make the neighbor's side of the wall an unattractive sight, so we added a few lattice panels which will allow their ivy to grow up and completely hide the addition. We asked Heather Hall how she thought the project would go over in the neighborhood.
With our close, compact yard and our community, I think it's going to work great. I think we're going to have neighbors coming over wanting to get in the pool and cook out, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it just adds to the ambiance of our yard.
I have installed more outdoor fireplaces in the last 5 years than probably the 20+ years I've been in this business, and it really makes a lot of sense in an outdoor area like this because all you need is just a little bit of a heat source to allow you to use this space for many more weeks in the year. Now, the homeowners here chose a gas fireplace, and many people would think of a wood-burning fireplace in an outdoor situation like this, but the truth is a gas fireplace is so convenient to use, and if it's convenient, you're going to use it a lot more, and it'll provide plenty of BTUs to keep this area nice and cozy on those cool nights. Now, the homeowners have thought about this for a long time to create this perfect cooking area, and they thought about where every single component should go, and that's very important. Not easy to do, but very important so that all of the wiring can take place with switches and outlets. Also, the plumbing lines that are necessary can all be stubbed out right in the right place. And a very important part of any outdoor kitchen that's undercover is to have a vent hood that's adequate enough to pull all of the smoke out of this area. It's very important to prevent any chance of fire as well as discoloring any of the ceiling area. Now, bricks will be placed on this wall, and they'll actually be used to create the housing for all of the cooking components that'll go all the way down this wall. But our brick masons aren't here today because they were waiting on one more of the cooking components to come in so that they could get started. Well, it's here, so we're ready for those brick masons.
Really, bricks over a wood and plywood wall, which is attached to an 8-inch thick cinder block wall, may seem like a bit overkill, but by doing it this way, everything has the appearance that it was built all at the same time. In other words, it doesn't look like an addition because of the materials. Now, after our Simple Solutions segment, we'll show you more of this project as well as a cool composite deck.
It's time for this week's Simple Solution from home repair expert Joe Truimi, brought to you by Deldwin Windows and Doors.
Many homeowners will use a paintbrush just once or twice and throw it away. And consequently, they end up buying really cheap paintbrushes because they know they're just going to toss them out. A better approach is to buy good quality paintbrushes, clean them really well after each use, and then store them properly. That way they'll last you for many years. Here's a paintbrush that I used recently to apply some latex paint. And first I cleaned it really well with warm soapy water. But before putting it away for good, I'm going to use a brush comb, which is nothing more than a wooden handle with these sharpened steel pins coming out of it. And it's a great tool for straightening out the bristles and removing any dried paint chips that may have been stuck and left behind after the cleaning process. Now, you could use a wire brush, but you have to be really careful because the bristles of the brush might tear out the paint bristles. So then once the bristles are nice and straight, you can just wrap it up in some, I like using this craft paper or brown paper that I cut out of a grocery sack. Then fold it over and secure it with a rubber band. Now, the important part here is to make sure the rubber band is on the metal ferrule part, otherwise it'll deform the bristles. And if the paintbrushes usually come with their own sheath, and if you have yours from the original brush, then you can store it in that as well.
This week, we're looking at all the elements that are necessary that go together to create that perfect outdoor entertainment area. Now, one of the decisions you'll make when you're creating that perfect spot in your backyard is what surface to use. Here we had an existing masonry surface around the swimming pool, commonly called cool deck, and next to that, under this covered patio, we have a stained and scored concrete slab that ties right into the new slab that we poured. All of that will be covered with a slate tile and should look perfect. Now, but for some homeowners, the outdoor entertainment area that you may have might be a deck. And when you think about a wood deck, a lot of maintenance, a lot of upkeep, but there is an alternative. It's composite decking, and recently we worked with a contractor just outside St. Petersburg, Florida, where he's building this great looking deck.
The design of this particular deck was really had an extreme amount of input from the owners. We run into people who call us and say we want a deck and we don't know anything about it. So we go out and we try and pull things out of them, but the Rices really had a good idea of what they wanted. They have a space that could be really molded into a lot of different things, and it was an initial 2-hour visit that we kind of talked about this and that and whatever, and then that's been almost ongoing. Well, could we do this? Could we do this? And I love that kind of thing because they're really into it, and I think that when we're done, they'll be very happy. In Florida especially, pressure-treated wood, if you don't maintain it every single year, it has a life of probably 6 or 7 years, 8 at the outside. And people don't really want to sand and stain and seal the wood every year. They want to use the deck. They want to have parties. They want to do this or do that. So I always try to push the composite decks. They are more expensive, there's no doubt about that, but the longevity of them, the usability of them, the foot friendliness over time is really, really worth it. So I try to do that. Some of the lower decks, a lot of times in Florida, we don't have a lot of change in height as far as the ground goes, so we don't really have high decks, and a lot of times we don't need railings a lot, but we'll use them as an accent because then it's not just like a patio, but it's more of an outdoor room. It influences traffic patterns and things like that. On this particular deck, we're using hidden fasteners, because especially with composites, you're spending all this money for this wonderful product, and then you're putting screws down through it. And even the nice composite screws, you're still going to see the screw head. So we're going the extra step here, and we're going to use the hidden fasteners, and it's going to look great.
I think John's right, but ultimately it has to meet the owner's needs. And Sue Rice told us why her family wanted this deck in the first place.
We wanted to add a deck because we really wanted to have an outdoor living room with the view of having a lot of company, and our children are, one's a teenager, one's going to be a teenager. And we want a real friendly place for the kids to be able to hang out, and us too. We both contributed to the design of the deck because we wanted to add certain elements. My husband wanted the bar, that's his part. I wanted the swing, that's my part. And then we wanted a quiet gathering place, so there were several modifications of the initial drawing, and now we're really happy with it.
As they should be. John's company did a great job combining the Rice's idea into a clean design, and then putting that together with the right materials and craftsmanship to create a beautiful deck that this family should be able to enjoy for years and years.
You know, composite decking material was a perfect choice for those homeowners, but for the halls, the homeowners we're working with on this project, they had a little tougher time figuring out exactly what they wanted to use to cover the existing slab as well as the new slab that's part of the extended outdoor entertainment area. Now, one option they thought about is to match this stained and scored concrete with the new, but I'll tell you, that never works. It never matches up. Even if you stain the whole thing, you'll see the difference between the old and the new. Plus, that wouldn't address this problem that's plagued them for years. A little bit of blowing rain last night blew in a lot of water. It's standing here. That's definitely a slip hazard and just something that would deteriorate any kind of material that you used here. So the solution that we're offering is to fill this up a little bit with a floor patch compound to allow the water to drain off. Then we'll install the slate tile over all of the old and the new. Everything will tie in and it will function like it should with the water running off. When we come back, we'll get into laying the tile and show you a very unique outdoor kitchen area.
Let's join Danny at the Home Center to check out this week's best new product.
When you're working outside, it's just given that you're going to get dirty, and no one really wants to run inside from their outdoor chores just to wash your hands. But installing a sink outside can really be expensive. The Real Smart Outdoor Sink can solve that problem. It's an outdoor sink that connects to a normal garden hose so that it can go almost anywhere, and it doubles as a garden hose reel for even more convenience. It has a large capacity sink, a swivel faucet, and 2 fold-out shelves for workspace, hooks for cooking utensils or garden tools, and a handy storage shelf underneath. Now you can use it as a prep area for your next barbecue, a potting station, or just a cleanup area for practically any outdoor project. Now the built-in hose reel is powered by standard water pressure from any household spigot, and it's easy to install because it can be wall or floor mounted. Not bad for just under $100. Well, our outdoor kitchen area certainly looks different than it did the last time we were here. If you remember, it had this ugly concrete block wall, and now the bricks have been laid, ties it in real nicely with the existing bricks on the house. That's always a good idea. Any home improvement project that you take on, make it blend in with the existing look of the house. Now you can see our fireplace is completely finished with the exception of the granite surround, which will match the granite countertop going on our new outdoor kitchen. Now check this out, how all of this was put together. There's nothing in this entire structure that's burnable. It's galvanized metal studs that they fabricated together here, put together with screws, and then cement backerboard was screwed to that. And this kind of created the area for the grill, the refrigerator, and the other components that'll complete all of the outdoor kitchen. Now, I also mentioned how important it is to have proper ventilation. Well, these homeowners took me serious. Look at this big thing. That should be adequate with the 2 different blowers to exhaust any kind
of smoke that's generated by the grill, and it's ducted over to the neighbor's house, so they'll be hungry all the time. Now, the last thing that we need to do here to complete everything, countertop, components, and our slate floor.
Before the floor crew can get to work, the vinyl siding guys take over the area and begin trimming out the ceiling and the soffit of the addition. When the floor crew can get to work, the first thing they do is mix and apply that leveling compound we mentioned earlier. It fills in all the low places and creates a slight slope to drain all the water off the patio. Getting the surface of an outdoor entertainment area to drain properly is critical if you really want to enjoy the space. In fact, lots of people opt for pavers laid over packed sand or gravel for that very reason. They do drain very well. This is a pretty do-it-yourself friendly job, but you can also just pick out the materials you want at the local home center and have them take care of all the installation for you. But back at the Hall house, the floor patch is dry and it's time for the tile to start going in. Now remember, when you pick tile for this kind of job, it should be something that's suitable for outdoor use. That means you want one that's fairly non-porous so it won't crack with freeze and thaw cycles, and the surface should be somewhat slip resistant.
Now that our slate floor is completely finished, grouted and dried, now these guys can get busy with all the granite countertops. Now, Tony, I know that you've done a lot of inside kitchens for us, but do you have to do anything different with granite on an outdoor kitchen like this?
Yeah, you want to watch your stone selection. You want to choose something, in my opinion, that's going to be dark and it's going to prevent the grease from making it, any darker. Even though the sealing process has gotten better, it's still recommended that, you stay with something dark.
Okay, all right. Grease. What about the thickness of this stuff? What you got? Quite a bit of thickness on this
stone
material.
Right here is really thick. It's 1.25 inches thick.
Okay. Now, what about inside kitchens? What's the most common for the interior kitchen?
The most common is 2 centimeter, which is 3/4, but a lot of people do like to go with this upgrade, which is the nice look.
Man, that looks great. I know the homeowners love it a lot. Now, what about something vertical like your fireplace surround? What do you have to do with that? Same type of adhesive and everything?
Actually, you want to use a little bit heavier duty adhesive, like a liquid nail. It's gonna stand up real good on those vertical surfaces. You're dealing with a lot of weight right there.
Yeah, I guess so, and you certainly don't want one of those pieces tumbling out on the floor.
Not at all.
Well, this looks great. When these guys get finished, we'll be able to move forward with the grill, the refrigerator, and everything else that we need to put this outdoor kitchen to bed.
Tony's crew is able to finish their work of gluing and seaming pretty quickly, so the granite is complete and the plumber can go to work connecting the grill and the fireplace. There does seem to be a little snag though, because the brick masons apparently made the opening for the refrigerator a little too snug. The refrigerator just won't fit. Since tearing everything back out at this point's out of the question, our foreman Joe begins shaving the bricks, first with a diamond blade saw and his circular saw, and then using a grinder. After a lot of dust and a little effort, the fridge finally makes it into place. While the finishing touches go on, check out this week's Around the Yard segment.
Let's head outside for Around the Yard with lawn and garden expert Tricia Craven-Worley.
Water is so plentiful in some areas and so scarce in some others. Like I pray for rain all the time. If you want ways to conserve water, here are a few tips for you. If you have an electric or gas lawnmower, you can raise the blade 2 inches. And in doing so, the longer blade is going to protect the soil from drying out. And of course, then it will take longer before it needs water again. Something else you want to do is go around and check all of your hose bibs. Where the hose meets, see if it has a washer. Put one in or replace it if it's old. If you have a house that has a valley like this one does, you can put a rain barrel or a trash can, and when it rains, it'll just go right into that can. And otherwise, anywhere if you don't have a valley, just put it along the eave and that water will come down. And finally, instead of using the hose for patio washing or any area that has debris, put a little upper body strength in it and just sweep it off.
Now, this is a place I could really relax, summer, spring, or fall. The halls really have a great setup here. Of course, they have the swimming pool to cool off on those warm days. There's the new outdoor kitchen where they can put together a great meal any time of the year thanks to the fireplace, which keeps it warm in almost any weather. And then there's the covered patio with its new slate floor where they can enjoy that meal out of the sun or the rain. While this outdoor entertaining space is mostly about bricks, mortar, and stone, the Rice's outdoor retreat in Florida relies on a great deck surface to define the entertaining space. Together with their contractor, they created a fun, attractive design that's also very practical because it's made from composite material, so it won't demand a lot of maintenance. While these two projects were very different in terms of the materials used, the owners have one thing in common. They spent a lot of time planning their project, sweating every little detail from what components and materials to use to the final layout and the design. But it's really paid off. And this is some of the best time you can spend on any home improvement project. Hey, thanks for watching this week. I'm Danny Lipford.
Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to like, comment, and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified of new videos.
And be sure to click around and watch some more videos while you're here.